out of the 4 Big 12 newcomers, UCF may be the team set up for the most success. With an experienced coach and a veteran team, could the Knights contend for a Big 12 title in 2023? That's the question that we're here to answer today. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. We're so glad that you could join us today, ready to break down, analyze, and predict UCF's schedule and record for this 2023 college football season. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over on thegridironexpert.com. Some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country for one of the lowest prices in the country, beating out over 80% of the national analysts and handicappers each of the last 5 years. Go check out our Patreon account as well. Become a member of our Patreon Hall of Fame and get access to exclusive content and offers only on Patreon. You do not want to miss the stuff that we have over there to help you get through this college football season. And check out the address down in the description below as well. Send us some gear. Let's get some Knights representation in our backdrop. We're going to continue to work to expand that, get rid of this bookshelf and add some shelves and really renovate it as we try to expand our GE Nation from coast to coast. So let's talk some UCF football. I really like this team. I think they're a sneaky, dangerous team and really could be the best out of the 4 newcomers to the conference. A team that went 9-5 last year, was in the American Athletic Championship game before falling to Tulane. And you look at what they've got coming back. Offensively, 8 starters back for the Knights, led by their star quarterback, John Rice Plumlee, who, when he's healthy, is one of the most electric players, I would even go as far as say, in college football. Over 2,500 yards, 14 touchdowns, just 8 interceptions last year. Also led the team in rushing with 862 yards and 11 touchdowns. But again, his health is key. His health is paramount to the success, not just of the UCF offense, but as the team as a whole. RJ Harvey, though, returns at running back as well, 760 yards last year behind John Rice Plumlee, and 4 of their top 5 pass catches return as well. The offense was balanced, 228 rushing yards per game, 241 passing yards per game, and honestly, I'd expect nothing less from a Gus Malzahn-led team. Defensively, the Knights are sneaky good, better than people realize. 23.6 points per game, that's all they allowed last year. The biggest concern for me is the fact they gave up 158 rushing yards per game. They've got to be better up front, got to be better on that front 7, shutting down the run, but we expect that to be the case with 7 starters back on that side of the ball. The thing is, guys, all the numbers we just mentioned were based on competition against the American Athletic Conference. Moving to the Big 12, the competition is stiffer. It's going to be a lot tougher. It's going to be a lot faster. Can the Knights come in and hang? When you take a look at their schedule, it is honestly not too bad. It's tough, but could be a little bit worse. We think they open up the year with a win over Kent State, make them 1-0. 1-0 in their first year in a Power 5 conference, and then they head over to Boise State for a very intriguing matchup on the Smurf turf. I love this matchup. 2 years ago, in 2021, UCF came all the way back and beat Boise State 36-31 in Orlando. It was an absolute thriller, one heck of a comeback by the Knights. And I just love this matchup here. It's intriguing. If this was a game that was last year, it was 2 of the better group of 5 teams. It's got Gus Malzahn's offense versus Andy Avalos' defense. That's exactly what you want, a clash of styles here and a great opportunity for both teams to notch a big resume-boosting win. But here's the thing. Boise State, as we know, is no slouch. 9 starters are back offensively for the Broncos from a team that won 10 games last year. That includes their quarterback in Taylon Green and a 1,000-yard rusher in George Halani, who feels like he's been there forever. 5 starters back on defense from a unit that allowed less than 20 points per game and less than 300 yards per game. At home, with that offense that could be even better than it was last year, with a UCF defense that's solid but not that great up front against the run, give me Boise State to take care of business at home and get revenge of that loss that should have been a win 2 years ago down in Orlando. UCF now 1-1 on the year, make it 2-1 with a win over Villanova. Then they start Big 12 conference play. And talk about a welcome to the league moment, right? The schedule makers did them no favors. UCF's first Big 12 game is against the reigning Big 12 champions on the road. UCF is going to Manhattan to take on Kansas State, who won the Big 12 last year. Again, you couldn't have scripted it any better than that, or any worse than that, I guess, if you're a UCF fan. We're going to give the Knights a loss here. I don't think they have enough to go on the road to beat a Wildcats team who's going to still be really good. This is a physical team in the trenches. They've got a great quarterback in Will Howard. I love everything they're doing and what Chris Kleiman is doing in Manhattan. I think home field advantage plays a very big role here. And that Kansas State defense is always extremely, extremely tough. And I think they're going to do enough to kind of contain that UCF run game and that dual threat ability of John Rice Plumlee. So Kansas State gets a big win there. UCF drops to 0-1 in conference play, 0-1 their first Big 12 game, 2-2 overall. But they'll bounce back the very next week at home against Baylor. Make them 3-2 and give them that first conference victory because they're going to get it against the Bears. Again, I think a lot of emotions play into this one, right? So while Kansas State is the first ever Big 12 game, Baylor is the first ever Big 12 home game for the Knights. And we all know Orlando is a very difficult place to play. The crowd there is always electric, and I expect it to be the case, ushering in this new era for UCF football. Against the Baylor team that, let's keep in mind, is only 2 years removed from a Sugar Bowl berth and a Big 12 title. I mean, this is still a good Baylor team. So, again, another clash of styles here. Gus Malzahn's offense against Baylor's defense. Hopefully that's revamped a little bit better. But Baylor right now, their offensive line concerns me. Their secondary concerns me. Two major weaknesses right now on both sides of the ball for the Bears. While I do expect them to be better than they were in 2022, I don't think they're going to have enough to come in there and hang with UCF. In a close game, the Knights do beat Baylor, get that first conference win, and then go on the road to Kansas in a game that could very well be a big shootout in Lawrence. I mean, the Kansas offense versus the UCF offense, John Rice Plumlee versus Jalen Daniels. I expect there will be a lot of points between these two squads and the first ever meeting between them. Really, if you love offense, this is going to be the game for you. But in the end, I'm leaning Kansas here. I know Lawrence, Kansas doesn't provide the biggest home field advantage, especially within the conference, but it's better than nothing. It's better than nothing. And it's a long ways to go for UCF, all the way from Orlando to Lawrence. So that Kansas has that going for them. I might even go as far as saying that Kansas actually owns the better offense than UCF entering this game. So I'm going to go with the Jayhawks here to get the win, dropping UCF, going into their bye week at a even 3-3, alternating wins and losses through those first 6 games of the year. Bye week comes at a perfect time, midway point. But the schedule, to me, honestly, could be a little bit tougher on the back end. And coming out of that bye week, they go on the road to Oklahoma. That's not an easy place to play. Obviously, an Oklahoma team that is going to be one of the better teams in the Big 12. It's a Big 12 favorite for a reason. But it's an intriguing game, too, because it's the Dillon Gabriel reunion game. Dillon Gabriel, the quarterback right now for Oklahoma, but used to be the quarterback at UCF. So an interesting connection there, interesting reunion there. But I do think Gabriel sticks it to his former team. At home, feeling good, Oklahoma, knowing that they, at this point in the year, very well could be in the hunt for a Big 12 title, college football playoff berth, who knows. That offense was firing on all cylinders last year. It was really the defense that let them down. This Sooners team is going to take a major step forward, major bounce back year in year 2 under Brent Venables. And I think Dillon Gabriel gets revenge, if you want to call it that even, over UCF. And the Knights drop to below 500 and get right back to it with a win over West Virginia. Again, it's kind of funny how they've just kind of been alternating these wins and losses here. West Virginia, though, is a game at home that UCF needs to win. And it's very winnable. West Virginia is one of the more winnable and beatable teams, I feel like, in the Big 12 this season. But it's an intriguing lineup as well because both teams know how to run the ball. We mentioned UCF, 228 rushing yards per game last year. They've got R.J. Harvey, but they've got a dual-threat quarterback as well. Same goes for West Virginia. They've got C.J. Donaldson. They've got a dual-threat quarterback as well, more than likely if they side with Garrett Green. West Virginia averaging 172 rushing yards per game. Neither team last year great at stopping the run either. So could see a lot of points scored. Could see this be more of a ground-and-pound type of game. But at home, I do trust UCF a lot more in a game where I feel like they own the edge in every category. Home field advantage, offense, defense, and coaching. Give me the edge with UCF. They've got their 4th win. They need 2 wins in the month of November to go bowling in their first year in the league. And to me, that would be a very, very, very successful season for Gus Malzahn and the Knights. They go on the road to take on Cincinnati, a former American Athletic Conference foe. They're familiar with the Bearcats, right? I mean, when you have three of your 4 newcomers are all from the same conference, you're bound to play each other. You're going to be familiar with them. UCF, Cincinnati, in these last few years, really were the 2 top dogs in the American. And it was always fun to watch because you kind of knew the winner of that game was probably going to be in the driver's seat, more than likely, of the conference, maybe the New Year's 6 bowl race as well. Last year, UCF did beat Cincinnati 25-21. And, you look at this and it's like, yes, things have changed. Yes, players have changed. Coaches have changed for Cincinnati. But these two teams still know each other. UCF is familiar with Nippert Stadium. Cincinnati and UCF familiar with their styles and their schemes. But I do think with Cincinnati changing a few things up, they're going to have enough to kind of pull their card out of their sleeves and beat UCF at home. Nippert Stadium is not an easy place to play. We know that. We know that. Yes, UCF beat Cincinnati last year, but that snapped a 3-game losing streak to the Bearcats. And while I don't have much faith in Scott Satterfield and the Bearcats this year, their defense is going to be pretty good. And I think if their defense shuts down John Rice Plumlee, they can slow down this UCF offense. Their offense, Cincinnati's, will make just enough plays to get the job done. And in a mini upset, Cincinnati gets their win over UCF, kind of reclaims that throne, saying, hey, yeah, you beat us last year, but new conference, we don't care. We're going to reclaim our dominance. Give me Cincinnati over the Knights. Still need 2 wins in their final 3 games. Oklahoma State, at Texas Tech, and Houston. 2 of those 3 coming at home. I do believe UCF wins over Oklahoma State. First meeting between the Knights and the Cowboys, give me the Knights. I don't have a lot of faith in Oklahoma State. Typically a perennial Big 12 power. I'm just not feeling it this year. I don't have a whole lot of faith in their offense. The defense wasn't all that great last year. They lose a lot on both sides of the ball. I'm just not feeling it where Oklahoma State's going to come in and win 9-10 games. In Orlando, again, a pretty far place late in the year for Oklahoma State to go. An Oklahoma State team that also will be coming off a bedlam, will be coming off their game against Oklahoma. Whether they win that game or lose that game, I feel like they're going to have a bit of a hangover. UCF catches them at a perfect time, and at a perfect time where they need a win. They take down Oklahoma State, also a team that allowed over 178 rushing yards per game last year. Big day on the ground offensively for UCF. 5 wins now for Gus Malzahn's squad. To go on the road to Texas Tech, where, again, you could see a potential shootout here. Texas Tech's offense can be one of the best in the conference. And I will tell you right now that while UCF's defense might be a little bit improved, might be a little bit better, I do not see them slowing down the Red Raiders. I don't see many teams actually being able to slow down the Red Raiders. That offense is electric. Factor in that it's senior day in Lubbock and that the Red Raiders could be that dark horse contender for a Big 12 title. I've got to go with Texas Tech here. Team that averaged 34.2 points per game and 461 yards per game. A lot of points are scored. Red Raiders get the job done, which means that UCF has to beat Houston in the season finale, has to beat Houston to go to a bowl game in their first year in the Big 12. Can they do it? Yes, they can. Yes, they can. Yes, they will. UCF, facing Houston, a former American Athletic rival, will win this game on their senior day. First meeting since 2020 against the Cougars. They will get it done, and UCF will go bowling. 6-6 for Gus Malzahn and his squad. Now, someone say, that's disappointing. That's not good enough. Look, you won 9 games in the American last year. That's pretty dang solid. You're transferring over to the Big 12 where you're facing teams consistently like Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Baylor, Kansas State, and a tough non-conference game at Boise State. That's a hard slate. It's a completely different ballgame. You're not in Kansas anymore. You're not in Orlando anymore. The Big 12 is drastically different, playing these type of caliber teams week in and week out, not just once or twice a year. 6-6 is a very successful year considering the major transition that UCF will be going through. They'll find themselves in a bowl game, and Gus Malzahn will continue to build. And who knows, maybe he'll make another juggernaut. Maybe he'll make a legitimate contender in UCF in the Big 12 over the course of the following years. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. UCF, 6-6, going bowling in their first year in the Big 12. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Do not miss out on that opportunity there. Do not miss out on our Patreon account as well, and the opportunity to get your team represented here at the Gridiron Expert as we expand our GE Nation from coast to coast. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.